Oh my goodness gracious, everybody! Hello! Hello! Wow, golden Kappa train to greet me upon my return. Wow, oh wow, oh wow. Oh my god. What a nice belated Christmas present. All right, let's do this. Hello. Hello. Thank God you're live. Almost watched Ludwig. Well, don't do that. What are you even thinking? I made it to a Sunday night stream. Guess what? Me too. Me too. Oh my God. Okay, wait, let me thank everybody first. Hi everyone. Welcome in. Anon, thank you for the 5. Thank you. Dragon Army, thank you for the 5 gifteds. Shawnee, thank you for the 16 months. Skeletor, thank you for the 2 gifteds. Deanie, thank you for the 500 bits. Mochi Pichu, thank you for the 24 months. Oracle Bean. Oh my God, I'm still recovering, so I'm out of breath. I have to take breaths. Thank you for the 22 months. Marshy, thank you for the 11 months. Whoa, it's me. Thank you for the bits, not Christian. Thank you for the 28 months. Brenner, thank you for the 23 months. Sasha, thank you for the 31 months. Oh my God, all the noises. Rambling Ambrose, thank you for the 3 months. Private Pile, 33 months. Nutty Kiwis, Ride the Maverick. Ace, thank you for the bits. Sir Shin, Eric's, Carmen San Diego, Moldude, Anonymous Gifter, thank you for the 5 gifted. Shazam, Tavia, Queen Witch, Erebus, Seductive Bruja, Free Shoes here, thank you for the 5 gifted. Hannah, Timmer, Bit Posh Bub. I sound like I'm having a stroke when I'm just trying to get through thanking all of our lovely subscribers. 13 Xella, Mango Mom, Moonside Boop, Meddling Monkey, Low Brian, Ruby RCL, Dosa. Okay. Oh my God. Jen, thank you for the 34 months. Blah Spam, thank you. Mina Che, Strong, Overt Drama, JJ, Shook. Whew. Oh my God. Sigfen Mill, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. New Bastard just keeps coming. New Bastard, thank you for the Prime. Amaris, thank you for the 11 months. Yeah, it's that end of the month, everybody. Well, I've also been gone. I have not streamed a lot over the last week because I basically went home just to be sick. My holiday break was just me being laid up with a hell of a sinus infection, which I haven't gotten in so long. Oh my God. What a Christmas break I had. Oh, lovely. Is it true all the Phase Boys left so you can take their spot? I know this is kind of awkward timing because I was waiting for my return stream to announce that I'm joining Phase, but I think it's just gonna be me. Well, you know what it is. You know. It's just Phase Kwan. RJ, thank you for the 27 months. Soul Boot, thank you for the 18 months. Yellow Gumdrop, thank you for the 17 months. Kawaii, thank you for the tier 1. Deanie, thank you for the gifted. Alex Who, thank you for the 13 months. Mars, thank you for the 11 months. We're phased down, y'all. Isn't it kind of funny that they just won Content Org? It feels like maybe it's a curse now because I'm just totally making this up, but maybe there's a pattern here of when orgs win Best Content Org at Streamer Awards and then fall apart. And then everything goes to hell. Because I'm pretty sure OTK won. And then the next year, it kind of all went to hell. OTV's still standing. Yeah, that's true. V Shoujo. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with OTK? Oh, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're the exception to the rule. Critical, thank you for the 34 months. Solo Sonder, thank you for the 5 gifted Serbs. Are you saying that Cutie killed FaZe with her bare hands? Yes. Cutie murdered FaZe. You know what? It's been an inside job this whole time. The reason that Cutie has collabed with FaZe for the last year is because it was an inside job. Insert Game of Thrones meme. Tell him it was me. Tell him it was me. Yeah, she played the long game. She played the long game. Some ginger girl, thank you for the bits. So anyway, hi everybody. Thank you so much for the crazy level 11 upon my return. I hopped on the train and I came all the way here. So I got back today. Someone leaked a video of you getting sick and masked up. What the hell is this? Yeah. This is how I felt, honestly. Yo, hello, first time here. Hello. Like, nothing is worse. Nothing is worse than going home when I haven't been home. I haven't been home in a while, and I was so looking forward to spending time with my family, doing some fun cooking streams, like having a nice chill little break. And I was Darth Vader. The Snark. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. You got back to California right before the weather turned cold again. I'm just avoiding it. I'm just avoiding the cold weather. Yeah, that was me. You saw my pictures in the Discord. For the last 5 days, all I did was neti pot, like once an hour, neti pot, steam on my face, Sudafed, tea, sleeping. Christmas was so sad. Christmas was so sad because I had my mask on and I sat all the way in the corner away from my family who were all gathered around the Christmas tree. And I just sat there in the corner and I looked so sad. I know I looked so sad because I felt so sad. And then Christmas dinner, my dad made a really beautiful Christmas dinner and I sat in a different room, surrounded by like boxes and the wrapping paper that had come off the gifts. And I just sat there at a little table eating my dinner. And I texted Will a photo and I was like, I'm all alone. I'm all alone on Christmas. And then my dad tried to come over and I was like, stay away from me. Because he like tried to take a picture of us and sent it to Will and was like, she's never alone, which so cute. So cute, first of all. But I was like, please stay away from me. Please. Please. Especially because my sisters are going to Thailand and my sister Jen is already anxious and crazed enough that I was like, if she feels even a tickle, she just a little sniff, she's going to lose her mind. I'm never going to hear the end of it. Like, I tried my best. I was masked. I stayed in the guest room. I tried to stay away from my family. It's like, was it plain germs? I don't know because, okay, the week before I traveled home, I didn't do shit. And then I felt completely fine traveling home. I'm sure it was the stupid ass airport. Even though I mask when I travel, especially during holiday season, because when I was at the airport, everyone was like coughing and farting. And on my flight back, there was a guy who was simultaneously, get this. Okay. So he's kept farting. And then he kept coughing and sniffling. Like, I knew he was sick. That man was sick. And he was watching a YouTube video. When I tell you that the video he was watching was Caleb Hammer, and I looked over at this Putin coughing, sniffling man, young man watching a Caleb Hammer video, and I was like, but of course, But of course, yes. And even with my like 2 N95s, I could still smell. And I was like, oh my God, this is Putin coughing, sniffling. Yeah. So anyway, if you guys are traveling, just a reminder, mask up, have your hand sanitizer, try to stay away from people, even though airports and especially during holidays are so busy. And 95s don't stop smells. Yeah. And it's funny because for the previous 5 days, I'd been so stuffed up. But of course, once I felt well enough that I could fly back home, then I could smell. And I was like, great. I actually, when you're stuffed up, all you think to yourself is, man, I would give anything to be able to breathe again. As I was sitting there smelling them farts, I was like, oh, I would give anything to not be able to breathe through my nose again. Can't be smelling this stink. I can't. Also, did anybody notice that I cut my hair 7 inches? Does it look any different? I cut my hair off. I mean, you guys, 7 inches. No? It's so short. It's so short. No, my mom's like 85-year-old hairdresser did it. I only get my hair cut, aside from when Sam cut it that one time, I only get it cut when I go home because my mom's hairdresser cuts it for like $30. You would not have noticed. My hair was down to here. You thought it was in a ponytail? No. No, it's chopped off. It's chopped. It's short. Anyway. No, I was too scared I wasn't in the right headspace to be like, fuck it, give me a bob. Plus, I'm going to be so for real. I love my mom's hairdresser. We goss, he's very funny. Not the person that I would entrust to give me a sleigh bob and not a fuck ass bob. If he were to bob my hair, I would look like I lived in the suburbs with my 4 children and I drive a minivan. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I told him 5 inches and then my mom apparently told him to go even more. So that's why he cut off 7. My mom was like, no, my mom kept calling it meth hair. She was like, we got to get rid of this meth hair. I was like, what is meth hair? Excuse me. Yeah, see, this is the only thing about going to my mom's hairdresser is that she will text him on the side and be like, cut off even more than what she says. I thought meth hair was bald. I don't think it was meth hair, but she just kept saying that. The funny thing is I passed the place you got your massive tangled hair chunk cut on my way to see Marty Supreme Christmas eval. Perfect timing for a cut. That's so funny. Miguel Jr. lives on in our memories always. Always. Frank, thank you for the 24 months. I'm live and alive. CDR, thank you for the bits. Murph Dog, thank you for the 70 months. Justy Rhodes, thank you for the 2 months. Kungi, thank you for the 29 months. M Stacks, thank you for the 8 months. Matt, thank you for the bits. So anyway, I missed you. Holidays are so boring. I mean, mine was pretty shit. I will say not the best, not the best holiday, but I made it. I made it through. And at least I got to see my fam, even though I had one day at home. Actually, I also got to see my old roommate who I used to live with in LA, who lives in Australia now, because she and her husband were flying through Chicago. And so I got to spend time with them, which was really special. So my first day, everything was great. And then it was like on the 23rd, I started to feel a little something, but I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's just the travel, change weather. And then Christmas Eve, it was like hell. It was hell. And I didn't get to go see Marty Supreme. I was going to drag my whole family to see Marty Supreme, but I couldn't do anything. Permission to hit the nebulizer. Oh my God, everybody hit the nebulizer. Everybody hit that nebulizer. Yeah, so not only was I like, okay, I did watch one film. I did see It Was Just an Accident. Jafar Panahi's film that won the top prize at Cannes. That's probably going to win at least international feature plus maybe more. Really good. Really good. Dark, a lot funnier than I thought in like a dark way, but I know, and I didn't get to do unbanned requests. I'm so sad. My mom would have been hilarious doing those, but I think I'm still going to do unbanned requests in the next couple days, because I haven't done them in forever, and it's the end of the year, you know? It's the end of the year. Maybe it's time for second chances or not. I watched it with Nandre. It was fun. It's really good. And it's a quick watch too. So I watched that one. But otherwise, like, did not get to the aggressive film watching that I wanted to do. I didn't get to anything aside from nebulizing, nutty potting, just basically willing my nostrils to open up and let some air in. Seeing Marty Supreme tomorrow. I know I don't know if that's a film that Will wants to, it's like a wait to watch with Will, because I might just go see it. I might go see it tomorrow too. I watched Sentimental Value. I was planning to watch Sentimental Value as well. That we watched It Was Just an Accident the first night, and then the next night I wanted to watch Sentimental Value because it came out on the 23rd, and then I was sick and dying. What the hell is this? What is this? Amelia Perez 2? No. Liked by Garcia Gascon? Sure, this is a joke. This is a sick fucking joke. Que es real? Dia de los Inocentes. I understand what that means without even speaking Spanish. No, this is not real. No. No way. No, this is a lie. This is a complete and total lie. Vaginoplastia 2. Oh my God, the remix. No, say it ain't so. Oh my God. Big White, thank you for the 6 months. Olympi, thank you for the 20 months. Flavor, thank you for the tier 1. Dune, thank you for the 36 months. Okay, so the remix. No, I was just about to do a little, no, I'm not going to remix it. No. Some things aren't funny to joke about. Yeah. Have we not learned anything from me screaming on Twitter this week? Some things we just don't joke about, okay? Amelia Perez 2. We do not joke about that shit. Amelia Perez 2, Electric Boogaloo. Oh my God. What do you think Carla Sophia's been up to? Do you think she's been biding her time? Do you think she's kind of looking around and seeing all these other people who have done way worse things than her? Like they're like AIing picture. People are like AIing photos of themselves. No, I mean, what Carla did was really bad, but I guess like, I guess if I'm Carla Sofia Gascon, I'm looking around and going, wait a sec, but there's all these horrible people and they still have careers. The difference is Carla Sofia Gascon, unfortunately, as a trans woman in this world, when you get called out, when you get canceled for bad behavior, you're not going to have the anti-woke crowd being like, we support our fellow patriot. Unfortunately, Carla Sofia. Things are unequal here in the world of canceled people. She's got 2 movies in production. Yeah, but here's the thing. Carla Sofia Gascon was the star of unfortunately, a major Netflix film that was nominated for a shit ton of Oscars. And she, because of her tweets, it's preventing her from having booked roles in more American film and television productions. Otherwise she would have already lined up another job. Yeah. So she's got some stuff coming up. It looks like it's some Spanish films, but maybe 2026 is Carlos Sofia Gascon's big comeback in Amelia Perez 2. So anyway, let me just talk for a second because I've been gone the past week and so much has happened. So I'm going to sum it all up in under 1 minute. Just kidding. I think I would die. But tonight we are going to do film class. We are. I got back today, not that long ago, and I was like, all I want to do is all I want to do is lay in bed and watch TV. But I didn't want to miss another film class, and I haven't been live much in the last week. And I did miss you all, and it's kind of that weird limbo period in between Christmas and New Year's where people don't have a lot going on in a good way. So I figured, you know what the hell? Let's do film class. Die Hard. We did Die Hard last year. Baby Matcha Latte. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Homie, thank you for the 14 months. We did Die Hard too. You guys, can I say something really sad? I think Bruce Willis, I think he doesn't have a lot of time left. So at least this is one where people will be more prepared, and it's not a like, it's still very tragic. It's still very tragic, but yeah, I was reading an update on his health, and he's being surrounded by he's surrounded by his loved ones, and yeah, so we are not going to watch Die Hard tonight, but I have a sad prediction for sometime soon in the future that we will be looking back on Bruce Willis's work. He doesn't even know who he is. I honestly think, I honestly think dementia is one of the is like the worst thing that somebody can get. Will's home still, and he said that one of his drinking buddies, who's 80 but has been Will's drinking buddy for like 15 years, and who's Will's favorite person in Pinehurst, that he has dementia, and he did not recognize Will at all. And it was so heartbreaking. And it doesn't matter like what age someone is at. Dementia is so devastating and cruel to be alive in body, but no longer in mind. Like, it is such a cruel disease. And, I just feel so sad for Bruce Willis and anybody else who is suffering or, whose loved ones have to watch them go through this because it's such a horrifying disease. And as it progresses, and there's just no cure to it. So anyway, I think, we don't realize how precious our memory is and how, even when those memories might be filled with pain and trauma, it's like we still have our minds clear and our memories strong, and we do take it for granted. I mean, good health is something that we just take for granted. So every year at the end of the year, when I take stock, I'm like, I want to be grateful for my health and for the health of my loved ones, and hope that the coming year brings good health for those in my life. Are you running for Senate? I am. I was thinking of throwing my hat in for president, actually, in 2028. I will be old enough. I will be old enough to run for president in the next election. What the hell? I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about that. My grandpa didn't know who I was for the last 4 years of his life. I had to help him get into bed every night. It was rough. I'm sorry. That is just so... It's so cruel. It's such a cruel, devastating disease. And I just feel for Bruce Willis's family. And anyway, finally, America will be saved with the power of movie nights. Yes, when I'm president, there will be no more work. We just watch movies and talk about them. Excess like you, thank you for the 21 months. Momo, thank you for the 12 months. Jen, thank you for the 39 months. Asteroid Ninja, thank you for the 11 months. When I am president, there will be no more work, only cheese fries and movies. That's it. It's like having a substitute teacher. Yeah. It's going to be substitute teacher vibes for this country when I come in. The only work is WERK. That is the only work. Denny, thank you for the 9 months. So I will tell you what we are going to be watching tonight. I wanted to watch... Okay, so first I was like, should I try to find a Christmas movie? And then the only Christmas movies available were shitty Hallmark movies. No. And then I thought, okay, let's just go a little bit broader and kind of do maybe just holiday, blah, blah. And I couldn't really find anything I liked. When I was in the airport, I spent like an hour and a half combing through free movies, and I was like, why are there so many Woody Allen movies available? I'm honestly, okay, I don't know why it's just been Woody Allen films on YouTube. I don't want to watch a Woody Allen movie. No thanks. So I was like, okay, maybe I go even broader. What about just snow? What about just weather? Cold weather. And then I saw something. I was like, oh, okay. It's from 2013. And it is the film that put Bong Joon-ho on the map for international audiences. This is a pretty big movie. And it was also the film that he went head to head with Harvey Weinstein, that fucking asshole, because Harvey Weinstein was throwing his weight around, and he tried to get Bong Joon-ho to cut 25 minutes off the film to release it in the States. And Bong Joon-ho was like, no, I'm not doing that, which we love him for that. He's like, no, I'm going to release the version, the final cut that I've put together. And Harvey was like, go fuck yourself. And so the full film was eventually released, but it went direct to digital in a complete just power move by Harvey Weinstein. He would rather the film go direct to digital. He would rather the film went direct to digital than the film to like make money in theaters. But then it started to receive critical acclaim. And so it got a wider theatrical rollout. Anyway, just another example of how Harvey Weinstein, yes, was his name was Miramax, a name on a lot of great films. Sure. Harvey was also such an asshole, and he was willing to do everything in his power to fuck a movie over if the director and he clashed. And that is what happened on Snowpiercer, which is what we're going to be watching. So Snowpiercer is the film that I have chosen. If you've watched this film, you'll understand why it's very funny. Is the film that I have chosen to as our belated Christmas movie, as our just kind of holiday film. Let's call it our holiday film. In the holiday spirit, we are going to be watching Bong Joon-ho's 2013 Snowpiercer, starring Chris Evans and a bunch of other people. And it is the film that made Bong an international name, that American audiences were introduced to him. And then, of course, he went on 5 years later to do Parasite, which won him Best Director and Best Picture at the Oscars. So anyway, it's probably Chris Evans' best performance. I think so as well. I don't really think Chris Evans is really in too many films that Chris Evans is not really an actor to me, though, where there's necessarily like a lot of work there, a lot of kind of like films that aren't either kind of silly rom-coms or big franchise projects. He's kind of a himbo. Yeah, I mean, I think he's good at what he's good at, and I think he's really pretty, and he's Captain America, right? he's not super profound as a performer, though. But I also wonder too, though, if there's more in him. He just hasn't really pursued those kinds of roles. There's actors who I kind of wonder that about. There's actors who I wonder that about, where either through their own choices or just what they got kind of pigeonholed into, that they didn't really get to express much range and versatility. Anyway, he was great in Not Another Teen Movie. You know what? So true. How could I forget about Not Another Teen Movie? His early work's not bad. I've never thought he was bad. I've never thought Chris Evans was a bad actor. I just always thought Chris Evans was like, he's a hot actor who does a fine job in the roles that he's in, but has never really seemed too versatile or somebody who was even all that interested in kind of pursuing work outside the box. But I think he's great in Snowpiercer. I unironically thought he was decent playing a bad guy character in Red One. He should be a heel more often. Yeah, I think he should. I think he should just get more interesting with it. You know, he has so much money. he's had plenty of bags. He's got plenty of money. So it would be, it would be interesting to see him kind of go for some non-typecast type roles. Yeah, like some weird stuff. He admitted that after Marvel, he's chosen bad roles. Yeah, I can't really think of anything after. Well, like he was fine in The Materialists, which I don't know if I gave my thoughts on that. Materialists, so that was Celine Song's follow-up film. Not at all the quality of Past Lives. I thought it was, I just thought it was fine. I think one of my main issues was Dakota Johnson. I like Dakota Johnson in certain things, and I think she does a good job at being very dry and deadpan-y and just kind of she's got this one note, and when it works, but what would have made the film meatier and given it more humph and actually been more believable was if it wasn't Dakota Johnson. My unpopular opinion is that I can't watch her in anything. I actually like Dakota Johnson best in interviews. Is that crazy to say? My favorite Dakota Johnson is Dakota Johnson in interviews. When she's very like, actually, that's not true, Ellen. Because she's like dead inside and it can be very funny. But that's what I mean by this one note or her lying about the limes. Yeah. It's like this nonchalance, but it doesn't work in any type of drama where she's the lead. If Dakota Johnson had been a side character, fine. I feel the same way as Selena Gomez. Both of them feel super flat, so only really work as either deadpan or straight woman. Yes, I've never been that compelled by Selena Gomez as an actress. Aside from Wizards of Waverly Place. Wait, so she's not acting? Dakota Johnson feels like one of those actresses who would be like, yeah, I just do it. And you go, yeah, I know. You're kind of just you. You kind of... Dakota Johnson, the person, very much so feels like Dakota Johnson, the actress. I still can't get into anything with Zoe Kravitz. I also don't particularly care for her. I don't remember Selena Gomez being so monotone. Yes, she's quite monotone, and she also has this. There's almost like a nasally quality. I have a hard time. Listening to Selena Gomez. I loved her. You know what? I thought Zoe Kravitz was so fucking funny when she cameoed in the studio. I think Zoe as playing Zoe, but obviously an exaggerated version of herself in the studio, was one of my favorite performances of hers. Do you think she'll direct more? I don't know, because didn't that kind of didn't her directing that film with Channing Tatum lead to them divorcing? Maybe she won't. Maybe she's like, yeah, probably shouldn't direct again. I did not like that film. Blink Twice. I did not like that film. I do not think Zoe Kravitz as a director is something that I am here for. They were married. They were either married or they were engaged. Channing Tatum, Zoe Kravitz. I think they were engaged. Yeah, they were engaged and they were working together on Blink Twice. And then around then is when they broke up. So we also lost Brigitte Bardot. Okay, so I was debating like if I talked about Brigitte Bardot tonight or tomorrow. Here is what I will say. A lot of French people, a lot of the French themselves hated Brigitte Bardot because she was one of the few actors who was outright, unapologetically right-wing. In fact, she was married to Marine Le Pen's, like one of his advisors or something like that. But she was far right. She was far right, like fascist right. Odious woman. Odious is such a good word. Odious. Extremely odious. In fact, she was charged 5 times, something like that, 5 times for inciting racial hatred. But she loved animals. Oh, yes, she loved animals. So it's totally fine. No, was it? No, it wasn't Marine Le Pen. It was, wait, was it her father? No, it was, sorry, not Marie. It was Jean-Marie. No. Jean-Marie. I forgot how fucking old she is. Jean-Marie Le Pen, who was the founder of the far right Front National in France. She married one of his advisors because she aligned openly with the fascist far right in France. And when I say she was one of the few celebrities, what I mean is not to say that there are not, that it's not like every French celebrity is super leftist, but as far as her being like openly fascist and being somebody who had the icon status that she had, she was one of the few. And she never apologized and she never backed down. Sorry, not just charged, she was convicted 5 times for inciting racial hatred. So she was a real piece of shit. And it's like, look, 2 things can be true. In the beginning of Brigitte Bardot's career, she was revolutionary and brought about a like sexual liberation for women by the characters that she depicted on screen. And in fact, a lot of feminists like Simone de Beauvoir wrote about her being a feminist icon for being so forthright in her liberation. And she became emblematic of feminist freedom, which again, this is the French, right? This is the French. So to them, somebody who was emblematic of feminist freedom was somebody who the British and American press coined the term sex kitten for her because she was unapologetically sexually liberated, and she became a vehicle for sexual revolution. And so it was a big deal at that time because the way that women who would have inhibited the traits that she did typically would have been portrayed would be like obscene and indecent and immoral. And then Bardot comes along and she changes that. So she was considered an icon. She was considered to be a sex symbol, but in a like revolutionary way, in a kind of feminist way. And then she retired from acting when she was young. She was like not even 40 and she retired. And that was when she got really involved in far right politics and like spent the rest of her life screaming about LGBTQ people, immigrants, just saying the most heinous things. And not even, here's the thing, some of the things that she said would even make like far right figures in this country blush, which is saying something about how awful and odious her beliefs were. Apparently she called her son a cancerous tumor. Yeah, she was vile. She was quite vile. Never read a French actor's personal life section on Wikipedia. So yeah, that's true. So anyway, I might cover her a little bit more in depth tomorrow since I want to get to film class soon. But yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people, when they think of Brigitte Bardot, they think of the big beehive hairdo, you know, the wispy blonde bangs, the big expressive eyes with the, you know, the sex symbol Brigitte Bardot. And they don't know that she's really came to be more famous for how far right she was and just the tirades and rampages that she went on. I mean, being convicted 5 times for inciting racial hatred in France. You know? And this wasn't just like, oh, Brigitte Bardot, when she turned old, when she became old, suddenly became right wing, as we've seen happen with like washed up actors in Hollywood, where when their careers are no longer thriving, when they're old, and they just become bitter and they're like, I'm blaming the woke. No. Brigitte retired when she was still young, and she pursued this right-wing political path early on in her life. She had that racist dog in her. Yeah, she really did. Yeah. She was somebody who believed that, very much like the far right in America, that there was a golden era of France that had been lost because of immigrants, because of interracial, mixed race, interracial French people, les wokisme, interracial marriages producing mixed race French. So she had this nostalgia for a former France that she believed to have been lost. And that was due to the progress progress that had taken place. Yeah. I don't know. Brigitte Bardot loved le racisme. Loved le racisme. How racist do you have to be how racist do you have to be racist to be considered racist in France? Let me see if I can find some classic Brigitte Bardot quotes. Let's see. Oh, well, of course she, also side note, of course she was like, free Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein. Okay. The highest ranking official in the French island of Réunion filed a legal suit against former film star and animal rights activist Brigitte Bardot on Wednesday after receiving a letter deemed racist by the authorities. In the letter sent Tuesday, Bardot described the inhabitants of the Indian Ocean island as aboriginals who have kept the genes of savages and denounced what she called the barbaric treatment of animals by a degenerate population. She was one of those racists who had zero empathy for humans who did not share her skin color. Real Nazi shit. But of course was like loved animals. Why is that? You know, that tends to be a thing. It's like Amaranth, right? Amaranth with all her animal activism. And then talking about burning trans activists burning in the LA fires. I know a lot of white women who are so fucking racist and awful and love Trump and MAGA and are also like big into animal activism. And here's what I will say. I am somebody who loves animals, and I believe that animal cruelty is despicable. However, and maybe this is a hot take, but I think if you're somebody who cares more about the welfare of animals than you do of human beings, that's a problem. And I don't mean like when we go, I hate people, okay? When we're in our nihilism, we're like, fuck people, I hate people, you know, we don't deserve dogs. Dogs are greater than people, blah, 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 right? I get that. It's not the same thing. You know what I'm talking about. People who it's like they'll turn a blind eye to children being bombed in Palestine because that doesn't affect them. That just simply does not move them to any action towards any feeling. And yet, if they were to see a story about, you know, some dog or just like some animals that have been rescued, that's what captures all their emotion. That's the thing that they will feel emotional about. And yeah, to quote from Community, I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty. Yes, it's literally the Community meme where it's like, I can excuse genocide, but I draw the line at animal cruelty. And I remember when Palestinians, for example, would post photos of their pets in Gaza who were also enduring bombing and starvation and horrific conditions. And I remember them talking about where it's like, well, if Americans don't care about our lives, maybe they'll care about the lives of our animals. Maybe they'll care about the dogs in Palestine. And so they would post photos of them. And like, sure enough, I would see people who the first time or the thing that moved them to go, man, this is really fucked up, is when they would see a story about a dog that had been killed by bombs. And it's like, okay, yeah, that is awful. It is horrific for every piece of Palestine. And that includes the human beings. That includes the people who are there. Do you recognize that? Not even children affecting them. Yes, and that's my problem. That's my problem. My problem is not if you are somebody who deeply cares about animals. My problem is someone who deeply cares about animals and then simultaneously turns around and is vicious towards groups of human beings. Is a person who has more empathy for, I'm not just talking about, dogs and cats, animals that are typical pets. I'm talking about like any animal in general. Any animal that they see as, that they treat as more human than an actual human being. Anyway, all right, I'm getting off on a little rant tangent here, but that was just a little bit of Brigitte Bardot. And I think, as I said, I'll probably dive into it a little bit more tomorrow. Zyron Blue, thank you for the 39 months. Corso, thank you for the bits. On her wiki page, it says Brigitte Bardot was against Sarah Palin in 2008 because of Palin wanting to drill where polar bears are. That was the thing that made her not like Sarah Palin. Filibuster, thank you for the 22 months. Denny, thank you for the 9 months. Yeah, so if you are on Twitter and you're very surprised to see people saying rest in piss to Madame Brigitte Bardot, it's because she was a horrible person. Yeah, she just dismissed Me Too as hypocritical. Like, girl, what does that even mean? Me Too is hypocritical? Just read the political and legal issues section of Brigitte Bardot's Wikipedia page. Okay, wait. Actually, this is kind of a funny skit that SNL did.
Everything I have said,
Wait.
and I, of course, and me, I stand by everything I have said, and I will double down. Free Harvey Weinstein. This is a real man.
No. Bridget, come on, that's not what this is. No. Look. I think what we both think, it's women have a beautiful body, yeah? And men have a beautiful body, Why can we not have the freedom to explore and enjoy? What is more French than that,
Okay. Why does the woman have a breast? This is for a man to grab and pull. Come with me.
It's not this.
Nature.
Sweetie, no.
A drawer have a knob.
It's not.
A woman have a two knobs.
Oh, this woman. I'm beginning to think I should not have aligned myself with her. But, what can I say? I'm impulsive. I could kiss you now, Colin,
No, we can't. We're on the news.
Oh.
He's homo, I told you.
Of course.
And me,
Yeah. That was even kinder than a kinder depiction than the real life Brigitte Bardot. And I think the last thing I'll say on her before we move on is what was actually hypocritical and really disappointed a lot of fans of Brigitte Bardot was that as a prototype of of liberated female sexuality, as somebody who was emblematic of sexual revolution, for her to turn around and say of the Me Too movement that it was ridiculous, that it was hypocritical and uninteresting, and that all, these actresses flirt with producers to get roles, and then they turn around and claim harassment, and that she always enjoyed male attention, that she never felt victimized, blah 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 blah, is that sexual liberation is not that. Brigitte, if you can hear me in hell, sexual liberation is not men putting their hands on you, men verbally abusing women because they can, because they have power to. And I just feel always like women, especially women of, older generations who still maintain like, oh, well, it's just compliments. Oh, well, I never felt victimized. That you're either lying to yourself, and you're lying to yourself intentionally, or you've just so internalized misogyny that you genuinely believe this to be true. But that doesn't make it true. That does not make it true just because you try and say so. And in claiming that all these actresses who spoke out about the sexual harassment and other abuse that they faced were all doing so disingenuously, because that was something that you never personally experienced, is really what's disingenuous, obviously. She was the pique-moi. She was the pique-moi. Yeah, but I think for women like that, because if you accept the truth, then you accept that there is an imbalance of power. And I think some women are so hell-bent against this idea of being a victim, of being of being some type of like weak woman, or some type of woman who allows herself to be victimized. Choisissez-moi. That they refuse to accept. They refuse to accept the, endemic victimization of, of gender-based victimization of, sexual harassment and gender-based violence. Denial is a coping mechanism. Yeah, and it doesn't make it okay, especially for someone like Bardot, who just was, she was just so nasty. She was so nasty and cruel and harmful. But I do believe that it is denial. I do believe that it is this idea that you can somehow be better, that you're somehow better than women who have, claim to have experienced this type of behavior. Did you talk about what happened with the FaZe clan? The FaZe clan? No. I did announce that I was joining FaZe, though. Like, okay, good for you if you never felt like that, but other women did, and they went through haunting stuff. Just shut the hell up and listen. She sounds selfish and self-centered. Coming soon. FaZeKwan. Yeah. Anyway. Anyway, we got FaZe Kwan. We got fuck Brigitte Bardot. We got it all. We got it all happening at the same time. What time do you think you might start the movie? I'd like to see it, and thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. We are going to start just about now. Just about now. How about that? Oh, thank you. Hello. Thank you for the bits. Blackburn, thank you for the prime. White Grizzly, thank you for the 27 months. Zyron Blue, thank you for the 39 months. Lucas, thank you for the 33 months. Okay. When does Farley come home? Oh. He comes home on Tuesday, but he's going to be really sad because he loves Will's mom so much. Look at this picture. Look at this photo. He doesn't even do this when he's with me. Look at that little scratch face. He does not leave her side. Isn't he looking so cute? Apparently, he's just been having the time of his life. Will's parents are always texting me updates, and they're like, he is a perfect little citizen. He loves being down there. Of course, because Will's mom takes him on 100 walks. She goes to bed early, wakes up early. She gives him so many treats. He's probably gained 5 pounds, 5 pounds down there, but he's having the best time. And I think it's going to be sad because I'm so excited to see him, but I think he's going to be really depressed when he gets back. He's spoiled. He gets all the spoils of a grandchild. Yes. He gets all the spoils of a grandchild. But yeah, he's thriving. He'll be home in a few days. I can't wait to see him. And then he'll probably just mope around. He'll be like, oh, you guys are doing this shit again. This is why I don't want to be here. The computer is evil. Imagine he acts like he doesn't know you again. No, I will not stand. I will not stand for that. The computer is evil. You know what? That's so true. Deanie, thank you for the bits. Okay, let me pull up our movie rules here. Don't understand me, Mom. I know. My mom was having me go through, she was wanting me to find something on her phone in these texts, in this group message with her friends. She's like, I just need you to scroll up and like find this photo, because she was driving. And I scrolled up, and she had sent them a picture that I had sent my family when I had dressed Farley up for Halloween. And she had sent it to her friends. And the accompanying text was, well, I may never have grandbabies, but what'd she say? She's like, I may never have human grandchildren, ... but my fur grandbaby sure is cute. And I just looked at her. I was like, oh my God, you are too much. You are too much. When I was home, in the first 24 hours before I was like, that's enough, I did not come home only to have you going on and on and on about grandchildren. My mother kept saying things like, oh, everyone else in there, everyone else around me, all my friends and our neighbors, you know, their lives just, they all move on with their lives. Their kids get married and they have babies and our family's just stuck. It's like, you are so dramatic. She kept talking. But then in the same breath that she'd be like, oh, everybody else in my life has grandchildren. In the same breath, she would tell me about all these interpersonal issues with her friends' kids, where she'd be telling me about so-and-so who just had a baby, but then also about how horrible they are and about how she doesn't speak to her sister and she's always screaming at the mom. And I looked at my mom and I was like, okay, can we just take stock of the fact that at least your kids like you and they like each other, even though there are no babies in the picture? Don't you think that counts for something? Or is it better to like have babies even if we all hated each other? Even if we all had like major issues? Is that all that matters? Is it also, you know, a lot of these people who are married, they hate each other. So is it really that much better to be married when you're only married because it's what you're supposed to do or because you think you're supposed to get married, even when not even low key, high key miserable, high key? One of Will's friends in their Christmas card, in his parents' Christmas card, announced that he and his wife, well, ex-wife now, had finalized their divorce. And I was thinking about this thing that I had read where it was like, if you're one of those free-spirited people, you're somebody who doesn't kind of do what's kind of societally expected, or you don't follow a traditional path, just know that when you get to your 30s, that's when people start getting divorced. So just hang on, because it's going to get quiet for a period there, and it will feel like everyone is married and they all have these, you know, happy lives. And then they start getting divorced, or they don't, and they hang on for a couple more decades, even though they should have gotten divorced. So all that to say, I don't think just by virtue of being married and having children, you're like doing things better. And plenty of people who are married and have children are really unhappy. And you know what happens when you have children? It makes things a lot more complicated. The way Sam described her divorce to me was, it was like a breakup with just a little bit of paperwork. But because there were no kids, wasn't that complicated. You add in kids, which people will do because they think either it'll fix their marriage, LOL, or because it's the next thing that they're supposed to do. All right, I went to college, I met somebody, I got married, now I have children, now I have, live in suburbs. And then they potentially have made a bad situation worse. So anyway, not that there aren't happy married people and happy people with children, but it does drive me nuts. It drives me nuts, this way of thinking that is, you are failing in life if you are not on the marriage and children path, or not on the marriage and children path at a speedy enough rate. Because why? Who determined this? Who said how things should be? How things are supposed to be? We're not really socializing people to be competent at relationships. I think it's better. I think it is better to focus on really nurturing your relationships and to feel solid and confident in your relationships. And who cares about everything else? It's just the way things are done mentality. Yeah, and a lot of people have a hard time breaking out of that. A lot of people can't fathom a life that is not the life their parents or their grandparents had. And they kind of just, I don't know. They kind of just do things that they think they're supposed to do. Some of the people in the healthiest relationships I know never married, because marriage is not a symbol of a healthy relationship. Being married, some people are happily married. Some people have really great marriages, but it is not something that signifies a good, healthy relationship. And being unmarried does not signify a bad relationship. It's so crazy. It's also woven in with religion, where it's not just the human creation that it is, according to dogma. It's like this thing you're supposed to do under God. And I know a lot of people who aren't even really religious. Either, they were raised religious, but really aren't themselves, but they still, because religion is really deeply entrenched in our society. There is still that pressure. There is still that, this is the traditional way of doing things. That's crazy that you're successful in a long-term relationship but are still being pressured to get married and have kids. Right, because for a lot of people, being married and having kids is the thing you're supposed to do. There's so many people around me who don't understand, who just simply can't understand why Will and I have not gotten married yet. And I'm tired of explaining it to them. They're like, but I don't get it. You guys have been together a long time and you love each other. I was like, yeah, and we're super happy. Things are great. And also, it's none of your damn business. It's none ya. Yeah, just tell them none y'all. None y'all. Don't get married. Period. Bad. And if I get married, it's because I want to. If I get married, it is because I want to, not because anybody is telling me to, and not because I feel like, oh, I have to. That's what I'm supposed to do. Oh, surely my relationship is not sturdy if I haven't, where's the ring on my finger? Here's my rings. I bought them. There's plenty of rings on my fingers. I just married my wife. We've been together for 21 years. Literally got married 2 weeks ago. Congratulations. Zane from Canada. I mean, look, Michelle Yeoh was engaged for 21 years. That's how I might do it. My partner's parents started to pressure us about kids maybe 7 years ago, but we don't want any. We don't talk to them, so it's nice and quiet. Yeah, I think you just kind of reach a point where you go, if this is all we have to talk about, then I don't have anything to talk about with you. So you better find something else to talk about, because this is real old. This got old real quick. Just get engaged and never marry to rage bait everyone. Yeah, that'd be kind of funny. Do it for the bit. Doing it for the bit. Jaina. It's hard to put a ring on it these days when Erica Kirk bought all the diamonds for just her left hand. Yeah, are there any diamonds even left out there? Jaina, thank you for the 40 months. Suboptimal, thank you for the 6 months. All right, y'all. It's film class time. Let's get our movie rules going. So this is your opportunity to finish watching the game. The game. Go to the bathroom, get a snack. Do whatever you need to do. Phase up, phase down. Get your popcorn. Get your blankies. We already lost the game? Ugh. So sorry. This was an all-time pause on the movie rules digression. Yeah, I paused on the movie rules to be like, fuck them kids. Don't get married. Fuck marriage. Sucking on me is really neat. Don't be a jerk. Did my whole nighttime routine. Oh, let's go.
What are these rules? Remember to keep your shoes on at all times. Don't pull your penis out unless you really need to. Indecent exposure is a class 2 felony.
Boom. Oh. Oh. Okay. All right. So this is, again, what I chose for our cozy holiday film. So cozy, so holiday. And it is the film Snowpiercer, Came out in 2013. It is actually based on a French climate fiction graphic novel called French major here. Le Transpersonnage. Le Transpersonnage. Sometimes I think if you just use a really aggressive French accent, you can pull it off. Le Transpersonnage. Le Trans. It's about transgender. It's about transgender snow. And it was directed by Bong Joon-ho. It was his English language debut. So this was an international co-production. It's his first film in English. Woke snow. They are transing the trains, indeed. So I hope you enjoy. Cheaper than art school. Thank you for the 28 months. Wow. Okay. So question, because there are people who read the ending as tragic, who read the ending as the polar bear, the last shot on the polar bear symbolizing that they're cooked. However, you can look at it, and the way I look at it is that there's hope, that it's a new beginning, that there's a polar bear, which means what else is out there? And we think to ourselves that the people on the train are the last survivors of humanity, but how do we really know that? How do we know that there aren't other pockets of survivors who found a way to sustain, you know? But anyway, the polar bear needs to eat something. True. But yeah, listen to the music though. That's some pretty hopecore ass music. You know? That to me feels like this could be the beginning of a new beginning, you know? So anyway, that is Snowpiercer by the great Bong Joon-ho, who I love Bong Joon-ho because he makes films that are very, very heavy in the social commentary. He loves an allegory, but he also makes films that are like fun and visually so interesting. And he has these really fantastical element. Excuse me. Maybe it's the beginning of the end for me. He has like these really fantastical, absurdist elements. And he does such an incredible job of blending all these different tones and genres and, the social commentary mixed with the fantastical storytelling. And I just am never, here's what I will say. I am never bored watching a Bong Joon-ho film. Who took Miriam? Whoa. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. I am never bored watching a Bong Joon-ho film. Even if all his films don't necessarily work for me, cough, Mickey 17, at least he has such a distinct style, and it's always very clear that he has he had his goals and his purpose, and that he's a guy who is going to tell the stories he wants to tell in the way in the very Bong Joon-ho stylistic way, and everything else be damned. Memories of Murder and Parasite top 3 ever. And they not 3? Wait. Top 3, like your top Memories of Murder in Paris top 3. Wait, what's the other one? Mickey 17. I did not oh, I'll figure it out. The Host? Maybe? I did not love Mickey 17, especially compared to his other work. But I still, like I said, I still always appreciate Bong Joon-ho. I will watch every Bong Joon-ho film that comes out. And I have such a deep appreciation for him as a filmmaker. So Hogan, thank you for the gifted. Anyway, okay, we're not here to talk about Mickey 17. We're here to talk about Snowpiercer. So I pointed out that you have of course I can never think of character names. Literally never think of character. Chris Evans, Curtis Sliwa, and then Song Kang-ho, who is also a frequent collaborator with Bong Joon-ho. You will recognize Song from pretty much any Bong film. He plays Nam-gung, and those two, you can see especially in the scene where Nam-gung reveals that the drugs that he's been sniffing, he's like, I haven't just been sniffing this to get high, it's a bomb. Because he is on the track, no pun intended, that fuck the train, fuck trying to, reorder society on the train, fuck trying to make this totalitarian society more egalitarian. We got to get out of the train. Fuck the train. We got to get out of the train and we got to go out into the world. And you'll notice throughout the film that he's always looking outside, whereas the other characters, they very much so are only concerned with the train. The train is humanity. Humanity is the train. The world is the train. The train is the world. And they are only focusing on moving forward in the train. But Nam-gung, you'll notice, is always looking outside. Every train car they're in, he's always looking outside when there's windows. And same with his daughter, because of what he has, imparted upon her. And the reason for that is, as I said, he is representing the kind of viewpoint that there is no hope of any equal society, of any, egalitarian structure on the train. So we got to burn it all down and get off the train and go out into the rest of the world. Versus Curtis represents the viewpoint of, we have to fix the system. We have to fix things from within the system. We are on the train. The train is the system, and there's nothing else. And so we need to, in order to make things equal, we have to fix things within the train. And at the end, when Curtis's whole worldview is shook with the realization, with this truth, although to be fair, Gilliam is dead and he can't really speak, speak for himself. So all we have is to go off of what Wilford says. So if we believe Wilford, then what happened was was that Gilliam collaborated with Wilford to keep order on the train. That Gilliam has this very kind of twisted, like for the greater good kind of viewpoint. And he's like, look, people need order. Human greed is inherent. And so without order, without a system that places people where they're supposed to be and maintains that control, then all hell will break loose. Then humans will cannibalize each other, like literally and figuratively and all that. And so if we believe Wilford, then that's the reason why Gilliam was working with him and why he was training, essentially, he was training Curtis to head the system to, maintain that order and that control. And when Curtis realizes all of this, his viewpoint completely shatters. His worldview completely shatters because he believed that, first of all, he believed in Gilliam, and then his faith is completely shook. I've seen this so many times, but now I don't know what to think of Gilliam. I mean, it's hard because, like I said, Gilliam's dead, so he can't. The big reveal doesn't come from Gilliam. Haha, here's the twist. It's Wilford telling all of this to Curtis. But anyway, so then that's why Curtis, he sticks his arm in. He finally sacrifices his arm 17 years later. We come full circle. Y'all, he wasn't just giving that speech so that Chris Evans could show off his acting and show us that he should be maybe going for roles that are atypical from what he goes for. Anyway, so he gives that speech and then he sticks his arm in, sacrifices his arm, gets Timmy out, and essentially is like now he's on the track of the only way to fix things is to start all over, is to just burn it completely down. And the two people to represent the future of humanity, that hope of, true equality, are the two kids. So you have Yona and then you have Timmy. And it's significant that they were both born on the train. So they have never experienced the outside world, but they also, so they did not contribute to the collapse of humanity, the collapse of the globe. They were born on the train, and all they have ever known is the train. And they are chosen to restart this new world. Do you think the train is a metaphor? I'm still thinking on that one. Is the train? Do you think the film's an allegory? Is the film an allegory for like class warfare and revolution? I don't know. I'm still thinking on that. Is this about capitalism? Is this an allegory for? Is this an allegory for our capitalist systems? Don't bring politics into my movie. What do you make of the scene at the end when the little white boy is ignoring Curtis and sits within the engine? Well, what Wilford says is he points to him and he's like, see, he knows that the engine has to keep running. The most important thing is the engine keeps running because that is humanity. So even if life is shit for you on the train, if you're in the back of the train, at least you're still alive. And the most important thing is that humanity keeps surviving even within this totalitarian society, this, train structure that separates the classes and dictates it as necessary to the survival of humanity. Anyway, so the reason why little Andy goes up there, I think, is to show that, Andy is keeping the engine running because that's what you're supposed to do. Andy knows his place in the train. Don't you see that even this child, even this child understands that in order to keep the engine running, we need to have this system of control. What's your favorite section of the train? Probably the omakase. What's my favorite section of the train? Just kidding. The rave. The rave where everyone's on drugs. The train rave where everyone is on drugs. And then when their drugs are taken, they go crazy. Never take someone's drugs. The set design. Oh, can we talk about the set design for a second? First of all, okay. So to me, the biggest strengths of this film, the production design, incredible. The choreography, the cinematography. If you'll notice in the scenes, especially where there's a lot of action, they shoot it profile. And they also had 4 separate train cars that they built, and they had it on a gimbal, and the gimbal was literally moving constantly to show the train moving. That Bong, I think it was Bong who said that a lot of people felt sick because the gimbal was constantly moving. But anyway, so they shoot it profile because they're depicting the constantly moving train. That the train keeps moving, and the most important thing is the train keeps moving. And then also the direction, you'll notice a lot that the focus is forward and back. And that is because within this system, right, you have the people in the back who are only looking forward, and then the people in the front who look back, make sure that the people in the back stay in the back, and the people in the back are trying to get to the front. So the way that a lot of the shots are, a lot of the cinematography in the film is showing you that by direction. Yeah, they also did something where, hold on, let me see, where was it? Yeah, so they had the gimbal. There was something that they did, let me see if I can find it. Ring manager of the train automatically followed the rails. I was reading about all the effects and the design that they did. Let's see if I can find it. Oh yeah, okay. So nearly all the shots on the train were filmed. So the tail section is to the left of the characters on screen, and the engine is to the right. And so this was something that Bong said he wanted to. He did this in order to, quote, maintain that energy and give the audience a sense that whichever way the shot is moving, that's where the characters are going. So that was all very disciplined, intentional shooting in order to tell the audience that is where the characters are going. So the way that they shot it gave the sense of that direction. Yeah, just really, that takes a lot of choreography. It just is very, very creative. Very creative, artistic, and technological decisions that they made on this film. Chris Evans needs this type of project again. That is why we said in the beginning of this movie, or before we watched the film, that this is, for people who've seen this, a lot of people think this is one of Chris Evans' best roles, and that he doesn't really do a lot of stuff like this, but he does such a good job, and he's so consistently solid in the whole film. And even in the speech with the cannibalism, yeah, the dialogue's Bong Joon-ho's dialogue can get a little hokey, a little absurd, a little. But Chris, he's really good at. Bong is really good at choosing performers, at casting his films. And he always has his actors able to ground that dialogue. And Chris Evans, he's so believable when he delivers that speech. He is what producers think Chris Pratt is. Wrong, Chris. Yeah. It's very cartoonish dialogue. There's definitely that element to a lot of Bong's films. Almost kind of a Looney Tunes vibe. But then he comes in with like really visceral violence. The scene where they are taking on the kind of ICE style hatchet wielding security or police officers, that scene is so intense. And when it goes into the tunnel, like the timing of it all, when they go into the tunnel and then they lose the light, and then the security puts on the night vision, and it's so intense. And yeah, so that's also just that really brutal Korean, kind of tenet of Korean cinema, where no one is safe. In Korean horror and Korean thriller horror films, they will just pull the rug out from under you. They do not follow kind of conventions of, like American film conventions. Korean cinema is known for going incredibly fucking hard. How does he compare with Park Chan-wook? So it's funny you mentioned that, because the reason that Snowpiercer came to be about is that Bong Joon-ho was in a comic book store and he picked up the comic. He picked up the graphic novel, La Transpersonnage, which is what Snowpiercer is based on. And he read it start to finish standing. He was in the comics bookstore, picks it up, reads it, standing the entire time, finishes it, immediately was like, oh, this is incredible. I need to do something with this. And so he went to Park and was like, what do you think of this? And he was like, this is incredible. I'm obsessed with this series. And then also showed it to producer Lee Tae-hun, who was like, yep, this is super rad. And Bong was like, okay, the graphic series is amazing, but I need to come up with a completely new story and new characters, because he wanted it to be based on Snowpiercer, but be very fresh and very new. He didn't want it to be just an adaptation of the graphic novel. So you mentioned Park Chan-wook. He's friends with Bong Joon-ho and was brought on board because he was shown the graphic novel and was like, yeah, this is rad. Appreciate it. Have Mary Shymaj. Thank you. Gregu, thank you for the prime. That explains the TV show going off the rails. Okay, so the TV show, which came out in 2020, I never watched it because I heard it was not very good. Maybe there'll be people in here who are like, no, it's awesome. And then I'll go watch it. There was a show. Yes. So Snowpiercer show starring Jennifer Connelly and Sean Bean. It's set in a different, it's like a totally different timeline and different world, even though Wilford, who's played by Bean, is still in the show. The first 2 seasons were good. I don't know about the last ones. There's 4 seasons. Oh, I did not realize. Wait, they had a season come out last year. I thought this show was canceled after like 2 seasons. But yeah, it's set in a totally different universe. I had read some reviews that it was not as good as the film, so I never watched it. TNT announced it would not air Snowpiercer's already completed 4th and final season. What? Wait, why? Oh, hold on. What? Wait, so they had completed the 4th season, but then TNT was like, we're not going to air it. But where did it end up then? Snowpiercer show. It ended up on AMC. Yeah, so AMC rescued it from TNT. Oh my God, that is so frustrating. That is so, oh, I hate that part of this aspect of the industry where they'll just be like, yeah, no, we're not gonna, a completed season? Nah, we're not gonna release it. But AMC ended up taking it. So it's on AMC. Sticky Punch, thank you for the 3 months. The cast was genuinely so good, but the show definitely fell off after the first 2 seasons. I'm kind of interested. I'm kind of interested to watch it, and don't say anything if you've seen the show, just to see it formatted for TV, the story, you know, the world building and the story of Snowpiercer, and how they incorporate, like, how the film ends where the train crashes, everybody dies except for 2 survivors who venture out into the world, or if the show is completely life on the train. Definitely worth the watch. The first season's a little dragged out, but you can see the movie. Wait, you can see the movie. You guys like this kind of thing? I highly recommend the Frostpunk franchise. I will say this is Snowpiercer is one of my faves in this genre of kind of post-apocalyptic dystopian thriller. And I think it's because of how Bong Joon-ho tells stories. There's almost, well, the look of the film is very it's very postmodern and also very fantasy. But then the story itself, like the way the story is told, it's kind of old school. It's kind of like a grand epic from, I don't know, the 70s. So he's so interesting as a storyteller, visually and in just all elements of storytelling. Did you like Silo? I fucking loved season 1 of Silo. Season 2, I was very frustrated. I will watch season 3. Season 1 of Silo was so fucking good. And there's definitely, actually, you know what, Snowpiercer, you will, I won't. I will still watch a season of a show, even if it started to go off the rails. I kind of commit that way. Steve Zahn Steve Zahn's in season 2 and he's so good. I love Steve Zahn. Okay. Anyway, Snowpiercer reminds me a lot too of, did anybody ever watch The Platform? I think that's what it's called. It's on Netflix. It's a Spanish film. It's another dystopian thriller. And it takes place in this world where instead of a train, you have a vertical prison. And there's all these different levels. And every day food starts at the top and it goes all the way down. And so people who are in the top levels obviously have access to, earlier access to the food. So they engorge themselves, they eat as much as they want, and then they dump whatever they don't take down to the bottom levels or to the levels below. So it trickles down, right? It's the trickle down economics that Reagan talked about. So of course, those who are on the bottom levels are lucky if they even get scraps. And it's so it's similar thematically and also kind of visually, because the platform, like the train, is it is the setting. It is the world that they live in. The person's platform also changes every month. Yes, which is an interesting, it's an interesting component, because the whole thing is like, okay, so if you've been on the bottom and you know what it's like to be on the bottom, what happens then when you go to the top? And I think it's kind of, these questions, and same in Snowpiercer, is, are humans innately greedy? Will they choose when they have a higher position to kind of fuck everyone who's under them? Because in, say, the platform, people who have been at the bottom were fucked by everybody else on top. And so when they get to the top, then they just continue as such and choose to take as much as they want, and everyone else be damned. I'm going to get my bag. Yeah. And in Snowpiercer, the idea of, if you make it to a higher car, being grateful, first of all, that you are in a better position than you were before, even if it's still shitty. Because the thing is like, no matter what, being on this train, it's shit. Even if you're at the drug rave, ultimately, and yes, there are levels to how shit it is, but it is a shit existence. It is a shit existence. And yet people would rather have a higher position. And so when they get to that position, they're happy to stay there. They're not going to question anything. They accept what they have, and it's better than what's behind them, which is why, again, that bi-direction focus in the film, you're either looking ahead or you're looking behind. Different levels of shit, but still, but still shit. So anyway, if you liked Snowpiercer, you should definitely watch The Platform. I think it kind of, raises similar questions, thought-provoking questions about humanity and about the nature of these systems that we create, and what is like man-made versus what is inherent to being being a human being. And that's something with Snowpiercer too, where when we have these different visions for society, and we have these different worldviews, but I think there is also that question of and this is what Curtis then grapples with at the end, and he makes his decision to blow things to hell, which is why he gives Yona he gives her the match and is like, take the fire. Is even as someone who started at the back, if he gets to the front, is anything going to change? And Wilford believes that humans need order. Wilford believes that left to their own devices, humans descend into just total savagery, and they will eat babies and do whatever they need to survive. And so, yeah, this existence might be shit, but at least there's order, at least there's control, and people need to be told what to do. So he comes in with that. And that's why I think Bong, in raising all these questions, in in the themes that he explores in the film, I think at the end, with the two of them venturing out, potentially into this world that could immediately kill them, or maybe not. I think what he's saying, I think it ends with that kernel of hope. And I think he's saying these other systems, they don't work. This is terrible. This is no way to live. This survival is not living. And so we need to start all over. And maybe it won't work, but maybe it will. And maybe it won't be perfect, but it could, it could be better than what we did in the past. Yeah. You can kill everyone for a small chance for two people. Yeah. And Bong is he in his work, he explores class warfare, he explores capitalism. He's pretty leftist. I think that's apparent in his films, and then also in just interviews, and whenever he talks about his work, it's pretty clear that he's a guy who is politically very to the left. And I think it intrigues me that people feel quite definitive in believing that the ending is bleak, that there's it's kind of we're just cooked, because I don't think any of his films are like that. He is a director who he's a filmmaker who, even though a lot of bleak shit happens in his films, I can't really think of any Bong Joon-ho film that ends just that ends in a way that feels very hopeless. And I think to be a leftist, you have to have hope. I think being somebody who believes, who envisions a better world, a better society, you can't do that if you have if you look at everything and you're like, yeah, we're just cooked. Yeah, there's no hope. Yeah, might as well give up now. With a polar bear? Hey, I know someone who thinks he can vibe with a bear. I know a leftist who thinks that he can vibe with a bear. It's a beautiful ending because the world will be repopulated by... Well, it's funny too because you don't want to think about it too much. That's the thing about this film too. There's certain things plot-wise that you just kind of go, whatever. At the end where it's like, okay, if these two are the only two left, Adam and Eve, so to speak... This new iteration of Adam and Eve. No. Nah, we won't think about it too far. He said not polar bears. Well, you know what? I choose to believe that I could coexist with a polar bear. Anyway, so yeah, if you get too caught up in kind of the logic of of Snowpiercer and going, well, wait a second. No, Bong is not interested. He gives you some information, but he's not interested in like in the lore, in the technology being thoroughly explained and logical. Purely semantics. Yeah, That's not what it's about. If Wilford was lying about the snow melting, then he was probably lying about there being other people out there. The frozen people probably aren't really people. Yeah, that's the other thing is like, how do we know to believe Wilford? Whether it's about what he said on Gilliam or what he said about the outside world. How do we know that this is not a guy who's maintaining that order, who's maintaining that control through any means necessary? By convincing people that they have to stay on the train. Because if they leave the train, if they leave this perfectly ordered and perfectly controlled system, then they'll all die. That's what Wilford wants people to believe. There's almost certainly survivors. Humans have survived ice ages before. Yeah, I have seen this film 3 times now, and that's what I always think about is we are so occupied with the world that's been laid out in front of us, the very, insulated world of the train. And you think this is the last of humanity. And so when the train crashes, well, there goes humanity, except for these two. But I always think it's never actually, I think it's left intentionally ambiguous. I think Bong Joon, I think he's ambiguous in that point on, are there other people out in the world? Have other people figured it out? And now it's up to the 2 survivors of the train to figure it out. The bear eats fish and other animals to survive, so there's other life forms out there. Yeah, and I think there's that point as well. Maybe that symbolizes life. I think the polar bear, some of y'all looking at it, maybe this is a glass half full or glass half empty. Some of y'all look at that polar bear and see only death. But maybe you look at the polar bear and you see life. People also ignore that the daughter is psychic. If anyone could find food source, it's her. Yeah, so I think that's something, just to clarify on that, they wanted to creatively show a difference between people who are train born and then people who are not train born, but came onto the train when the world ended because humans caused another ice age. And so her being clairvoyant, her kind of having these she's not psychic, she's like clairvoyant. It's not that she's psychic. She has senses that have been honed in on because she never experienced the outside world. She only knows the train. It's like how you can tell which of your family is walking up the stairs. Yeah, it's like, imagine you've been in a box your entire life. Your senses are going to work differently than if you are exposed to an entire outside world. Imagine dragons, imagine them. What about the 7 frozen people, but I counted 5, so maybe alive? Yes, that could also, so the way they explained that was another revolution where people broke out of the train. But look, they die because if we leave the train, we die. If the engine stops, we die. But I think that's also kind of ambiguous, and potentially not everybody actually died there, or those weren't the 7 who escaped. The whole kindergarten sequence is so horrifying. Oh my God. Allison Pill is a nightmare, but she's so good. She's so good in that role. Nam said he knew who they were. He seemed to have thought they all died. Maybe they did, but also he's the one person who represents, as I explained, represents the belief system that the train is fucked. This system of order on the train, it's bad. It doesn't work, and they shouldn't try to change things from within the train. They should go out into the world and try to reform society out there. In the show, they have a way in tunnels under the main train floor. Would you ride in the back or the front? No, I would be in the rave. I'm in which car would you guys choose? The sauna car, the one with all the fish, the rave. Maybe some of y'all want that. Maybe some of y'all want those bug blocks. The pools, the sushi bar. You don't get to choose, but if you got to choose, the protein slop car for me, it's fresh. It's probably not that bad, you know? It's got to be some vitamins, some vitaminic quality to it. Yeah, honestly, you put me in the rave car, I'm not questioning anything. I'll go along. I'll go along with your little order. I'm just constantly raving. It's Plur, baby. The garden cars be kind of fun. Yeah, it seemed really. It seemed pretty serene there. You don't even know it's been 17 years in the rave car. You don't even know. Yeah, you don't know what day it is. You don't even know your name. Do they make bugs specifically for the peasants in the tail, or was that another sign of life? No, they there is an area of the train where they like raise the insects. So they produce them on the train, and then that's what they use. That's what they use to make the food for the poors. Right, but Gilliam's, if we're to believe Wilford, Gilliam's belief was they were starving. They were starving, and people had reached a point where they were killing and eating babies. Do they have McDonald's on the car? Potentially. I don't know if... Well, I mean, Curtis did make it from front to back, or from back to front. So technically, we should have seen every train car, but maybe there's a secret McDonald's. But anyway, so Gilliam was like, okay, people are killing and eating babies. This is oof. I'm going to sacrifice my arm. And then other people sacrificed arms, and it was like, oh, maybe there's some hope here. Maybe like humans can actually rise above and help one another. But then things, started to get bad again. And so he essentially strikes this deal to work with Wilford. And in order for people to not starve, they get the bug food, which sucks, but at least it's food. But then when the population starts to get too big, then they are at risk of starving again, limited resources. And so they have to call the population. Do you think it was him or Wilford that decided the baby killing needed to stop? No, I do think that was Gilliam. And again, this is all based off Wilford's account, but I do think it was Gilliam. I think Gilliam's interesting if you're like, okay, is Gilliam a villain? Well, I think he's very morally, I think it's morally gray. And I don't think he's like a villain in the sense that he has any evil in his purpose. But I think he believes that the only way for people to survive is to have this order, and to ensure that even as bad as it is, it doesn't get to a point that it's so bad that people lose their humanity. He believes that in order to maintain their humanity, one, they have to have enough resources, which is where the population control comes from. And two, that they have to all have, everyone has to have a role. And that's the role you're given, and that's what you get. And to keep the engine going, to keep the train going, to keep humanity going, Gilliam believes he has to work with the front of the train, that it's like the back of the train and the front of the train work together. Making a deal with the devil to save the tail. That's how he views it. Yeah. So that's what I mean by I don't think Gilliam was a villain in the sense that he was like selfish and he was doing things to fulfill some evil goal. He believed that the only way to keep people alive, his people alive, and also to keep their humanity, was to work with the front of the train. What was the role of the people in the back? They are, well, one, they have kids. They produce children. So they produce children, which we find out are who are running the engines. I think they also do like a lot of menial labor, or not menial, a lot of hard labor. They're like it's like they're working in the mines. Yeah, hard labor, producing children for child labor. The violinist. So what that was is people have a chance to move to the front if they have a special skill. And when they came back, they're like, can anybody here play violin? They're like, we only need one. And so the husband went, and then you saw him, right? He was cleaned up. He was in a tuxedo. Octavia Spencer remarks on how good he looks. So that's the like upward mobility opportunity, where it's like, oh, if you're special, you get to move upwards. And then the whole idea being that once someone moves up, they don't look back in the sense of, I need to bring everybody else up with me. It's they look back and go, at least I'm not back there. Kind of nuts, the violin player pretended he doesn't know them. Why do they not remember anyone when they go up? I don't think it's some, I don't think it's some like amnesia thing or, you know, them not remembering because of any reason other than it symbolizing how people, when they can be in a better position than one. Okay, so I think it symbolizes like, oh, when you put them in a better position, then they're just gonna, you know, be glad for being in a better position than they were before. But also, yeah, he doesn't want to, you know, not wanting to rock the boat, not wanting to jeopardize his position that he's in. He told his wife, I'll be back. Also, I don't know, maybe trauma, the trauma too. But yeah, it's the class separation. It's the you step out of line. If you're a class traitor, then we're throwing you all the way in the back. It's how homeless people give the average worker in capitalism a position to fear. You don't want to be them. The people at the back are meant to inspire those at the front to not want to be them, which is why the children in the school car tell all those horrible stories about those in the back. Yes, and that's why I keep mentioning the very purposeful bi-directional cinematography where you have the back and then you have, you know, you have the back, you have the front, and the people in the back can only look forward because they're all the way in the back. And the people in the front look behind them and are like wanting to ensure that the back stays in the back and then that they stay where they are. It's so well crafted. Yeah, it's great. It's like pretending you can't see homeless people living under a bridge. Yeah, and I think I think the mentioning of how the homeless in society, people who are at the very bottom, who have nothing, are held up as an example of one, people who are there due to their actions putting them in that position, and also as a warning, as like a sign for everyone else. Keep looking forward, because you don't want to end up in that position. And rather than having empathy for the people who are all the way in the back, all you think to yourself is like, I don't want to end up there. And then the rave car people are throwing it back. The rave car just cracks me up. Their faces when they enter the rave car are like, what the fuck? Because remember too, they haven't been anywhere else in the train. So every car they go to it's like culture shock. When they see the sushi and they're like, you motherfuckers eat sushi? We've been eating blocks comprised of bugs, of ground up bugs. And then the eggs, yeah, when she starts stuffing them in her pockets, when Yona sees the fish for the first time and she's just filled with wonder, she's like, I've never seen anything like that before. Imagine being in the back of the train in Snowpiercer and you get to the rave car and you're like, wait, there are people who are in a car where they just do drugs and dance. Like the hogs, it's a couldn't be me attitude. Yeah, and then they hold the threat over you of like, you step out of line. You step out of line, you buck the system, you try to bring the system down, you're all going to end up like that. Why that guy keep getting back up and not die? Because evil never dies. I think he represents he represents the system trying to hang on as long as it can. It's built different. Yeah, of course. When you represent the violence of a totalitarian corporate world, you have plot armor. You get stabbed and shot and smashed over the head, and still you don't go down until the system is brought down. The system being the train. It was not until the entire train crashed. I don't think we have proof that anyone in that train actually died. I think they're dead. I think the train falling off the tracks and crashing that way. I do think it's supposed to be that they're all dead. Dozens of minor injuries. Yeah, just tis but a scratch. So now that you've seen the film, think about what I told you before, which is that Harvey Weinstein tried to get Bong Joon-ho to cut 25 minutes off the final cut. And he was like, no, go fuck yourself. And then, dude, and it's crazy because the Weinstein Company, they didn't have anything else. Harvey didn't work on the film. He wasn't a producer in the film. They acquired the distribution rights to Snowpiercer. And they were going to do a wide release in North America, as well as through the UK, Australia, New Zealand, blah, blah, blah. And Harvey wanted 25 minutes cut. He wanted less dialogue, more action, and he wanted a voiceover sequence at the end of the film. And it just goes to show, remember, big, powerful executives, that does not translate to being to artistic merit, to being a creative genius. But a lot of these big, powerful executives like to think of themselves as creative geniuses, and because they have the power, because they're the money, they are the system of the film business, they are the business of the film business, they get to throw that around, and sometimes they get their way, or sometimes actual creatives have enough power or chutzpah to challenge them, like Bong Joon-ho did. But then they'll try to cut their legs out from under them, which is what Harvey tried to do by going straight to digital with the film. But then because the film was a critical success, it ended up getting a wider US release. Yeah, he's a fucking scumbag. Miyazaki sent a sword. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. The iconic Miyazaki story when he sent the sword to Harvey and said no cuts. Yeah. Asian directors standing up to Harvey Weinstein. Not even a producer wanted to ruin the movie. Yeah. Following the news of the cut, a free Snowpiercer petition campaign demanded the director's cut of the film to be released in the US. And it was created by cinema activist Denise Hurd Basher. And it was supported by Tilda Swinton and John Hurt, who were both in the film. Yeah, so the uncut version was eventually released, but the caveat was that it would be a limited release in art house cinemas. But then because of positive reviews, lots of critical love from the critics, it got a wider US release. He wanted Lord of the Rings cut down to one movie, and Jackson said no. Does the train work when it's not snowing? Nandre is asking the real questions out here. Well, yeah, it does because it's run on child labor. As long as the children yearn for the engine. As long as the children yearn for the engine, then the train keeps running. Swirly, thank you for the 9 months. Sticky Punch, thank you for the 3 months. Jeansley, thank you for the 4 months. Oh, let me turn my alerts back on. Did I turn those off? Oh, wait. Oh, they're off here. Okay. How train go when it stop? Oh, wait. I know what I wanted to watch. Hold on. Okay. So, I think this is the
one of my favorite filmmakers is the South Korean director Bong Joon-ho.
Okay, wait.
I remember seeing his film.
Okay. So, a bunch of chatters mentioned this. This is the YouTube video, Why Snowpiercer is a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This has 15 million views. Clearly a very popular video. So this is the Willy Wonka theory that theorizes Snowpiercer is a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and that Wilford is Charlie Bucket.
Director Bong Joon-ho. I remember seeing his film The Host when it came out in theaters when I was like 16, and it blew my mind. His stuff is really dark and quirky, and he didn't really break out in the US in a huge way until Snowpiercer came out. I really like Snowpiercer.
I've actually never watched this, just to be clear. I've never watched this. I've heard about this theory, but I've never watched the video.
But one interesting thing about it was that it reminded me of my favorite movie of all time. Okay, I may have lost a lot of you there. How could an incredibly violent R-rated movie set in the post-apocalypse from 2013 possibly remind me of a children's classic from the 1970s? Well, they're both two movies about groups of people that work their way through a large, fantastic structure. One by one, a person from the group is removed in each room until one person makes it to the very end, who then found out that the entire thing was a test because a wealthy industrialist needed to find a new successor. Okay, are you still with me? Because the more I've been thinking about it, the more I'm convinced that Snowpiercer is a sequel to Willy Wonka, and Ed Harris plays the adult version of Charlie Bucket, who took over Wonka's candy empire and who is the one who built the super train.
Wonka, Wilford.
Before I start getting into the specifics, let's take a look at the broad commonalities that these movies have. Both of the plots heavily revolve around economic class structures, children, food, And I mean food in a big way.
I know what people taste like.
Roast beef and a baked potato.
But most interesting of all, both of these stories thematically examine
I have to say, too, that's a line. You see that on the page. I know what people taste like. It is a testament to how great Chris Evans is in this movie that he really sells it. Okay. He gets the emotion. All I can think is if I'm reading a script and it says, I know what people taste like. The first time I read it, I'm probably letting out a little giggle and then I'll lock in. But the first time I read that, I know what people taste like. I might giggle a little.
Sacrifice, choice, and free will. There are few moments in Willy Wonka, if you think about
Professional
them, play
actress.
into the idea of fate and the roles that certain people are destined to fulfill.
Do you ask a fish how it swims?
No.
Or a bird how it flies?
No.
No, sirree, you don't. They do it because they were born to do it.
I am a hat. You are a shoe. We must each of us occupy our preordained particular position.
Just like Willy Wonka was born to be a candy man, and you look like you were born to be a Wonkera.
Curtis, this is your destiny.
Now let's look at the hard facts. Remember that Willy Wonka specializes in creating two different things in his factory: state-of-the-art food production and experimental modes of transportation. And he does all of this in a factory that is completely sealed off from the outside world, meaning that Wonka has the technology to make a food-producing factory that is self-contained and self-sustaining.
And this train is a closed ecosystem.
Nobody ever goes in. Nobody ever comes out.
With that in mind, let's try to piece together a hypothetical
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory really is a horror film.
timeline that links these two movies. At the end of Willy Wonka, Charlie inherits the factory. He does his best to continue Wonka's philosophy of decadence and imagination. But let's suppose that Charlie ends up forsaking his last name Bucket and as an apprentice takes on the name of Wonka, specifically Wilfred Wonka. And also, like his teacher, is sure to brand everything with a giant W. Fast forward to 2014. In an effort to combat global warming, the governments of the world agree to disperse the gas CW7. Charlie, now known as Wilfred, is one of the few people that can foresee the devastating consequences of this gas, given his experience in chemistry, which is actually foreshadowed in this overlooked scene in the original Willy Wonka.
Good lad, pour. No, certainly not. This is for very big waltz.
Realizing that CW7 would be too effective in cooling the
Wilfred
planet,
Neff.
Charlie devised his only plan that he could to save the rest of humanity, by focusing on Wonka's transportation and self-sustaining aspects and making the Snowpiercer, under the guise that it was simply just another luxury product. Saving all of humanity comes at a great cost, though. Charlie knows that the population is going to have to be strictly regulated in order to keep the train self-sustaining, which is going to involve the loss of human lives.
Precisely 74% of you shall die.
Is it still the same number?
Yes, it still stands at 74%.
This important role that percentages will play in his future is once again foreshadowed in a classroom scene.
Percentages. And for an example, let's take the recent unpleasantness.
Surviving the near extinction of the human race causes Charlie to go completely insane and take drastic measures in order to try and preserve humanity. But it is important to note he still holds on to Wonka's sense of decadence and imagination. In fact, there's a lot of things that he borrows from Wonka's playbook. All of Wilfred's shock and awe manipulation tactics were actually learned from Willy Wonka.
Understood we need to maintain a proper balance of anxiety and fear, chaos and horror in order to keep life going. And if we don't have that, We need to invent it.
When it came time to
Also, I will add that the reason Charlie goes through, maybe he gets that, but the reason he goes through that fuck-ass factory is because Wonka is looking for somebody to take over. Like, he gifts Charlie the factory. Like, it then becomes his.
find a successor,
Just like Wilford is looking for a successor.
Wilford even borrowed Wonka's method of hiding messages inside of food. And using spies.
That wasn't what Gilliam and I had in our plan. What? No, don't tell me you didn't know. Gilliam and I, our plan.
Come in, Mr. Wilkinson. Charlie, meet Mr. Wilkinson.
Pleasure.
Slugworth.
No, that's not Slugworth. He works for me.
All right, pause for a second. Feel free to call me crazy if you haven't already. But don't you think that there's a little bit more than a passing resemblance between Mr. Wilkinson, the spy hired by Willy Wonka to play Slugworth, and Gilliam, the leader of the back section of the train that was secretly working for Wilford all the time?
Well,
would it be too much of a stretch to assume that
I think they're both old white guys with circular-esque glasses.
they are in fact the same person? The timelines match up, and it makes sense that Wilford would
But
refer to Gilliam as
I'm
an
in.
old friend. And having it be the same character adds a layer of significance to this moment from earlier in the movie.
It's all coming together.
My former shadow. My day was decades ago.
And the strange thing is, he might not be the only character still alive. Fair warning, even I think this next part's a bit of a stretch, so if you want to get back to more reasonable things in this already unreasonable video, just skip to this mark. There's something weird.
Okay, we love a self-aware YouTuber who's created a video theorizing a connection between two separate films.
About the passengers in
two
first
unrelated
class
films
that Wilford has in charge of the train.
We love a self-aware
Why would these
conspiracist.
people who are insane and selfish be left in charge? Well, one could look at it as a deliberate statement of satire, or maybe these were all significant figures from Wilford's past. One of the most mysterious and enigmatic figures in Snowpiercer is the seemingly unstoppable and almost mute gunman, Franco the Elder. In a train that's supposedly run out of bullets, how is this man so skilled? Well, what if he's had an obsession with guns since he was a child?
I'm Mike TV. Well, you're dead.
One can easily see how this young boy with an obsession of fictional violence could grow up to become a deadly soldier.
Like the killings, huh?
What do you think life's all about?
Mike, would you tell us
Yo! I always knew Mike TV was a
Wait till I get a
sociopath.
real one.
I also don't think it's a coincidence that he delivers his first devastating kill on a TV screen. Maybe Charlie/Wilford kept his fellow golden ticket winners around as an example of his twisted sense of mercy.
And Wilford is divine. Wilford is merciful.
Tilda Swinton gave an iconic performance as Minister Mason.
Wait, hold on. Let me guess who he thinks. Minister Mason. Maybe Veruca? Veruca Salt?
But what if Minister Mason is just the future version of...
I'm Veruca Salt.
I'm
Now,
Veruca
you
Salt.
might think I'm reaching here because these two characters don't seem that similar at first. We don't know
I want
what
a pony.
Veruca is like after surviving the garbage chute. Remember, her and her father were trapped together, and there's a good chance she narrowly avoided getting incinerated. This could have traumatized Veruca and changed her entire outlook on life. Instead of being ungrateful, she now became too grateful, fanatically devoted to the graces of Charlie, who saved her life.
You people who have suckled the generous titty of Wilford.
But she still keeps her ill temper and tendency to insult people.
You filthy ingrates.
You're always making things difficult.
Now, I understand the idea that Tilda Swinton is playing a traumatized Veruca Salt is a little thin, but there are at least two facts you can admit. They both have fur coats, and both of these characters
So
always
silly,
enter the
but I
room
like it.
first.
I want to go in first before anybody else.
Ladies first, and that means Veruca.
Salt finally got what he wanted.
What's that?
Haruka went first.
The last major member of Wilford's posse is the
Violet.
child catcher, Claude. And almost little to no information is given to us about this character. The clearest details we get about her are her body type, her lack of impulse control.
God damn it, Claude, mind the engine! She's getting sensitive recently.
And the fact that
And she likes
eats
yellow.
her own blood. And there's a character in Willy Wonka that exhibits all of these tendencies.
Violet.
Augustus Gloop.
Both of these
Oh.
characters have ravenous appetites, poor impulse control,
Augustus!
and members of the Gloop family are known
Ah, yeah, Augustus Gloop.
to eat even inanimate objects. Claude might just be the daughter of Augustus Gloop. As for Violet
Or
Beauregard, well, I confess she doesn't
trans,
really fit
maybe.
into this theory. But it is worth
Told you
mentioning
that
there's
Snow's
another
woke.
woman with a giant swollen belly. Also, there's a candy in Willy Wonka that could be seen as the precursor to the flammable waste drug Cronal. No, it's not the everlasting gobstopper. It's the exploding gum for your enemies that Mike TV eats.
I told you not to, silly boy.
간단히 말해서 폭탄이 새끼야.
But there's one key signature element from Willy Wonka that isn't present in this linked Snowpiercer theory. But in a weird way, the fact that it's missing proves that these two films are connected. And I'm, of course, talking about the Oompa Loompas.
Of course, the children.
I've got a perfect puzzle for you.
Surely, if this was indeed a sequel to Willy Wonka, wouldn't there be Oompa Loompas everywhere working on the train? Well, they would have been if they didn't go extinct. All of Wonka's prior transportation technology was operated by Oompa Loompas. It was operated by tiny people.
The space only allows for a very
kids!
small person. The engine lasts forever, but not so
I knew
all
this
its
was going to be a big
parts.
part of the
That
film,
piece of equipment
or of this
went
video.
extinct recently.
Maybe it was because of the climate. Maybe it's because there is no female Oompa Loompa and thus they can't procreate. But once all the Oompa Loompas died out, Wilfred Wonka needed the next best thing to keep his perpetual engine running. Small children.
I'm fucking
now, all
sold.
of this leads to one big question. Why have I been so obsessed with this? For years. I've literally wanted to make this video for years. And like, this is a really esoteric thing to keep being obsessed about. But I think there's an important reason why it's stuck in my head. It made me appreciate the fine details of these excellent movies. Like how both Wilford and Wonka greet their guests by saying,
Curtis, dear boy.
Charlie, my boy.
and I think they make both movies more interesting. Selflessness is a very important part of Snowpiercer, and Curtis has been longing to sacrifice his arm through the entire movie. In the end, he finally achieves that selfless sacrifice, just like Charlie did at the end of Willy Wonka when he gave up the everlasting gobstopper. And it adds a twisted note to Wilfred's final moment when he witnesses a sacrifice against himself that parallels his own. All he can say is,
nice.
And I don't think this theory ruins...
Yeah, that being the final line before the train, everything goes to hell, is so funny. He just goes, nice.
The end of Willy Wonka by having Charlie turn evil. When you think about it, both movies end with a hug, and with the notion that the children are really the ones that will carry on the future for us. Sure, this is all kind of ridiculous to believe, but maybe it is true. And all it takes
is imagination.
But most importantly, if you enjoyed this video, all I ask is this. Tweet at Chris Evans. Tell him to watch this video and make him admit once and for all that Snowpiercer is a sequel to Willy Wonka. If he says it, it's canon. Because that's totally how this stuff works. There's also some more cool stuff on this channel, including some original series and ridiculous
Everyone
shorts.
tweet right
You know,
now.
feel free. Check it out.
Even though this is 7 years old, this video is 7 years old, tweet. Keep tweeting. Wait, he made a part.
And all it...
He made a part 2, and it's 2 hours. You're joking. No, there's no way. No. Wait. Okay, now his brain is super cooked. Okay, a 15-minute video. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm with it. Part 2 is over 2 hours long. It's long. It's as long. No, it's longer than the film. And he has a part 3. Is this a specific type of autism? What's this called? How long is part 3? Part 3 is 2.5 hours. There's no way. No. What happened? Wait, I don't understand.
And all it takes is a little imagination.
No. Okay, I'm not watching this whole thing, but does he explain how he went from a 15-minute video that seemed to like wrap it all up to 5 hours? 5 hours?
And the Oscar goes to Parasite.
WHO has been assessing this outbreak characterized as...
Oh my God, it goes all the way to the top.
Outcomes, including human extinction, are not being taken seriously.
What's up, Snowpiercer fans?
Part 4 is 8 days long.
We're announcing to you right now today that we have been greenlit for season 4. It gets bigger and more Snowpiercer-ier. So, thank you so much for checking it out. We love y'all. Yay!
So, what if I told you there's more?
I think... I think COVID maybe broke him. How far does this go? Wonka Piercer 2, shut the fuck up. I cannot believe 2023 AD, 9 years after the extinction event. Oh my God, he went like all out with the graphics. Oh my God, no, he made like a film. Yeah, I said COVID broke this man, but maybe COVID cured this man. Maybe COVID allowed him to see.
I used to think that everybody had one good party trick. You know, something you can pull out to break the ice and get a conversation started. Maybe you could do sleight of hand, or be really good at beer pong.
Oh my God, he shot
Me?
scenes.
I could tell people I made this one video that shows how the movie Snowpiercer works as a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And to my surprise, it usually worked. See, I've been making things on the internet for over 17 years. Like many creators, I've had my share of successes and my share of misses, but that video was my first and still to date indisputably biggest hit. It got a lot of press coverage and over 12 million views and even a shout out from the film's star, Chris Evans.
Oh my God, it worked. Wait, the tweeting actually worked. Chris Evans responded.
Thanks, Cap. And since that was a popular video, I normally get asked questions about it, like... or received some inquiries in the comments section, such as... And there was a part of me that always wanted to do a follow-up. Something where I get to go over the details of that video, point out some trivia, maybe give some insight as to how the thing was made. Except I was always reluctant to, because there were 3 questions that were preventing me from doing that. And the biggest one of all... See,
is it
that's
true?
The catch. Although I could show how those 2 movies were connected, I didn't actually live up to my title to explain why. That video was just supposed to be a trick, something I literally made up for fun. I didn't think it would actually reach anyone, let alone a few million. And in the following years, I realized I don't think I'll top it. For me, it's the closest I've gotten to making what I consider a perfect internet video.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
It was my first video essay and it got a shout out from Captain America. How do you follow that up? And I tried doing some other shorts, worked on some other projects, but I suppose the uncanniness stuck with me.
Yo, it's actually, this is crazy because this guy made a video and it was not just his first YouTube essay video. It was the biggest video he ever made and will ever make, because even looking at the views on the other ones, they don't come close to that one. And that became his magnum opus. Yeah, that became like his life's work. His climbing the summit of Mount Everest was the Willy Wonka and Snowpiercer video. It's too long, I know. I mean, 5 hours worth, 5 more hours of him getting into it. I know he peaked too early. Now he's just going to be chasing the dragon. He's going to be chasing the dragon the rest of his life.
Were all those parallels and coincidences in that video just coincidences? Did the most acclaimed director in the world really make a violent post-apocalypse movie based on a cult classic children's flick starring Gene Wilder from the 1970s? Or was there actually something more going on? So, in 2022, I set out to make this follow-up. A conclusive attempt to see if there's any truth to the most convincing video I ever made. And then, things got complicated. And it turned out the truth was far stranger than fiction. True to form, behind a parody of a conspiracy, there was a mystery. Some cover-ups, lost media, miracles that seemed like one in a million, revenge, and a genuine secret formula. But
what?
I am a shadow of my former shadow. My day was decades ago. Why not make one final video? One where I explain my secret
Except
formula,
it wasn't a final
answer
video.
all answers, clear all mysteries, and leave all of my snow-piercing and candy-making secrets to you. But be careful. This ticket is one way. Once you're in, you're in. There's no turning back. But I suppose if you're already here, we have nothing to lose. So how about it? Let's all go for one more ride. Let's take a journey and see what happens when some dreams become reality.
I can't watch this whole thing right now.
And some realities become dreams. Hold
I'm
your
obsessed with the fact
Make a wish.
that he said one more video.
Count to 3.
Except we know that there is a part 3. So something must have happened. Even with over 2 hours making a video as a follow-up lock-in, he said, as a follow-up to the first one that he made, where it wasn't enough. It just keeps going deeper. Dare I say part 4? Oh, I mean, he mentioned a part 4. You know, honestly, I think an incredible bit would be if for the rest of his life, he just keeps putting out the next part of the Willy Wonka and Snowpiercer conspiracy. Part 3 is even longer than part 2. For the rest of his life, like his job now, and he's got a whole cult following. He's got Willy Wonka, Snowpiercer cultists. Oh man. Listen, you guys, I am not about to sit here for 2 hours and watch this, even though it does look intriguing. I'm already in. I'm already sold. He didn't even need a part 2. I'm so in already. Can we watch a little? Well, I'm actually gonna I'm gonna head off to bed, y'all. I'm gonna head off to bed. I'm still recovering, so I want to get a good night's sleep. And I traveled back today. Move aside, Brigitte Bardot. Who gives a shit about that dead racist? We've got Willy Wonka and Snowpiercer, 5 hours worth. That'll be my job as a streamer. Is all I do is wait for him to release the next part. That's like the only content I do is reacting to the next part of Willy Wonka and Snowpiercer conspiracy. Somebody was like, where does Club Chalamet factor into all this? Wait until part 60. She'll come in at some point. Someone's got to analyze the analysis. So true. Somebody has to sit in a chair and react to somebody's YouTube video. And that is what I'm here for. That is my job. And I will always be here to fulfill it. Anyway, y'all, thank you for joining for film night. A kind of last minute film night, but we did it. We got her done. Promises made and promises kept. I will see you guys tomorrow. We were trying to figure out a gaming night with me and Sam and Julian and maybe Vanilla. But I think people are busy tomorrow night, so Sam might still want to game with me. But I do have stuff that I want to cover first. So I will go. I'll be live tomorrow around 5:30. The huge. Cover some stuff and then I think do some gaming with Sam and whoever else that we can rally. Chat, vote for your favorite movie night and stuff, please. Yes. Please fill out that form. We've got a form. We've got favorite movie night and stuff, please. So please vote. Vote. You can illegally vote. That's fine. We will allow it. But please get your votes in because I will be going over. We have some fun stream stuff planned. For it is the end of the year, for a new year is upon us. And we like to look back at the previous year and remember. We like to remember things. What are we voting for? Click on the form and you'll find out. Click on the form and you'll see. I can't choose. They were all so good. Just vote for all of them. Slattern, thank you for the gifted. Okay. All right. I am gonna send you guys to I'm gonna send you guys to Mafia Jinx. How about that? Jaeger Larson, thank you for the 8 months. Golden Globes are in 2 weeks. I know, I'm stressed. I'm really stressed out because I was supposed to get a lot of movie watching done when I was home, but then I was sick the whole damn time. So I didn't do what I needed to do. I have to go see Marty Supreme this week. I must. I want to feel prepared for the Globes, so I have 2 weeks. Missed you, Queen. I missed you guys too. I hope everybody had I hope everybody is having a good holiday. Had a good holiday. Merry Christmas, Hana Kwanzaa. And I will see you tomorrow. We'll be back on schedule. We're so back. We've never been this back. All right, y'all. Night, night. Thank you for joining me for film night, and I'll catch ya on the flip side. Hogan, thank you for the last minute gifted. Goodbye.